once, I don't remember when, but when I came to the city I study, where I didn't know anyone, once like at a party, we also went to a lot of homosexual and bisexual parties, like off stream they were called, in Zurich and Basel and in like the Swiss, in big Swiss cities. And I made I made an acquaintance of a boy, very beautiful, and we made out at the party. I was pretty drunk already, and I really wanted to go home with him. And so he lived very close to the club, and we went to his place. And then we had I had active anal sex. I penetrated him, and it was interesting. But it was also that maybe during sex I thought of a woman. I don't know, or a woman's body. But like he came onto my belly, and I think it was interesting for him. I don't really know. We weren't that verbal about it. And I saw him again later, but we didn't interact that much. And then I went to my parents once at like a dinner, or when we ate at home, and I said I had anal sex with a boy to like provoke them. They wouldn't react at all. They would say, okay, what's it for dinner today, or so. They weren't provoked at all. So it was kind of disappointing, because I thought maybe this is really something. Although they're very liberal about it, maybe I can really provoke them with it. My father, for example, he would always say, if you are gay, no problem, just tell me, which is also kind of a way to put pressure on someone. And if you were really gay, it would probably not be that easy just to tell him. And I think it's also, they wouldn't care as long as it is monogamous. A female friend of mine, she got married lately, and it was very sweet how her father like reacted to it. Although there was a lot of pressure, he would like, you would realize that it's not the idea of marriage he has. He was still very proud that it is marriage, that she's the first one being married in his family, although it's a woman. You would see in his speech he made there, I saw that he wouldn't totally agree with the relationship of his daughter to a woman, but he loved the idea of his daughter getting married so much. And I think this is also maybe, it would be about the same with my parents, because the only time they were really troubled was when I said I'm polyamorous, because that's not something they could relate to. They would always like point to the problems and the harm I could do to myself and to others. Like, why did you just let your girlfriend down, or why just left her? Although it was not at all that. I was not at all that active and she that passive. It was more like a decision of both of us. But they would really stick to this kind of roles. They really like this idea of monogamous relationships, or like, how you say, also only two people in a relationship. And and then I, with about 20, I had my first girlfriend, and she came really from this very conservative family, and she was very rich too, so it was very different kind of environment. She was so different, and she was so cool and liberal. Like we had a relationship of about 10 months or something, and we had really not very relaxed sex life. There was very, very little initiative from her in order to have sex, and a lot of initiative from my part, and a lot of pressure obviously then on her part. But I always tried also to like make her come, and she also came a lot during our sex, but she would never grab the initiative. And maybe, I don't know, she had a really different relationship to sex. Like, she would moralize a lot, and it was very different than the relationship I had to sexuality. And also the relationship, or the behavior to sexuality I had with my friends, which was very open and positive. And she would also like refer badly to my friends sometimes. maybe strange because it's also this idea you get from all the movies and so on that you have to like convince women. A boy has to convince a girl for sex, which is obviously totally not the case, but it felt like it also in this kind of relationship. I gave head to a friend of mine once, and it was very interesting because it's with my girlfriend from like my first girlfriend, but also with other women. With a lot of other women, they like had some moral judgments on oral sex or on fellatio, and it was so interesting to blow a guy because then you know what you like ask of someone, or you know what some other does for you, and it was very interesting. And I also like did some deep throat and so on. I could like do all this kind of stuff I saw on in porn film and so on by myself from the other side, which is very interesting. I didn't have any insect, but I tried with another friend, and he tried to penetrate me because I invited him, and like immediately I bled. So I got really scared. So I said we should better stop because I'm bleeding. Or like he said himself, no, you're bleeding. So with my girlfriend, I'm referring to it as the discovery of the anus. Is just recently with her, like with my anus, or we are exploring what fits into my anus. And I really like the idea. If I'm still heterosexual and I like fit in all the stereotypes, I can still do stuff with my anus, and this is kind of troubling to the stereotypes. I realized that I don't want to get into heterosexual, homosocial male groups, like with only male heterosexuals that much. I don't do any sports, team sports and so on, because this atmosphere is really intimidating for me, and I realized I also like act out a role which I'm not doing usually anymore. So I kind of engage in this role play of who's the strongest and so on. I try to avoid these kind of groups. I don't go to football matches anymore as I did with 14 or something. It's so pathetic. It's so sad in a way that they all have to like engage in this, and it's only this kind of play, but it's that serious to them. They're so lost. It's so sad. All these boys. And I loved the idea that I lost my second virginity with my girlfriend now. I think that if it would happen to them and they would like it, they would have all this kind of trouble. Am I gay now? Because I like that my girlfriend puts up her finger in my ass and so on. And I mean, it's also interesting now because I live in a monogamous relationship, although it started polyamorous. It turned out to be monogamous, like the two of us, and then like we ended the other relationships, and now from time to time I make out with boys, and it seems not to be a threat to our monogamous heterosexual relationship, and also not hurting. That's why we don't consider like homosexual encounters as dangerous to our monogamous heterosexual relationship. She likes this fluidity, or it's also something. But I realized that a lot, like in this liberal peer groups I'm in, that heterosexual women think of heterosexual men who have homosexual encounters of more attractive than only like pure hetero, as if there was something as pure, but like as heterosexual males who are very homophobic. Obviously, they don't consider that sex.